tato jayam udhirayed Srinvatam swakata Krishna Punya Savana Kirtanaha Hridantasto hi abhadrani Vidunnoti suhusatam Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama sloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So today's verse for discussion, Canto 7, The Signs of God, Chapter 8, Lord Narasimhadev slays the king of the demons, Text 41. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Kopakalo Yugantaste Hatoyam Asurolpakaha Atoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Hatoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Asuroyam Athurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Shri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Atoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Atoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Vahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Atoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo Yugantaste Atoyam Asurolpakaha Tatsutam Pahi Upasrutam Bhaktam Te Bhaktavatsala. Sri Rudra Uvacha Kopakalo yugantaste hatoyam asrolpakaha tasutam pahi upasrutam bhaktam te bhaktavatsala. Word to word meaning by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Udra Uvacha. Lord Shiva offered his prayer. Kopakalaha. The right time for your anger, for the purpose of annihilating the universe. Yogantaha. The end of the millennium. Te, by you. Hataha, killed. I am this Asuraha, great demon. Alpakaha, very insignificant. Tatsutam, his son, Prahlad Maharaj. Pahi, just protect. Upasrutam, who is surrendered and standing nearby. Bhaktam, devotee. Te, of your lordship. Bhaktavatsala, O my Lord, who are so affectionate to your devotee. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shiva said, the end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the creator of the material world. There are three processes in creation, namely creation, maintenance, and finally annihilation. During the period of annihilation, at the end of each millennium, the Lord becomes angry, and the part of anger is played by Lord Shiva, who is therefore called Rudra. When the Lord appeared in great anger to kill Hiranyakashipu, everyone was extremely afraid of the Lord's attitude. But Lord Shiva, knowing very well that the Lord's anger is also his Leela, was not afraid. Lord Shiva knew that he would have to play that part of anger for the Lord. Kala means Lord Shiva, Bhairava. And Kopa refers to the Lord's anger. These words combine together as Kopakala, or refer to the end of each millennium. Actually, the Lord is always affectionate towards his devotees, even though he may appear very angry, because he is Avyayatma, because he never fails down or he never falls down. Even when angry, the Lord is affectionate toward his devotees. Therefore, Lord Shiva reminded the Lord to act like an affectionate father toward Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing by the Lord's side as an exalted, fully surrendered devotee. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has the form of Sachitananda Vigraha, transcendental bliss, knowledge and eternity. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him who turns the dumb into eloquent speakers and enables the lame to cross mountains. Such is the mercy of the Lord. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation. Lord Shiva said, the end of the millennium is the time for your anger. Now that this insignificant demon Hiranyakashipu has been killed, O my Lord, who are naturally affectionate to your devotee, kindly protect his son Prahlad Maharaj, who is standing nearby as your fully surrendered devotee. Hare Krishna. I think we have had wonderful pastime of swinging the lordships till yesterday, the fifth day. It must have been an ecstatic emotion for everyone who participated in the swing festival, either directly or indirectly. Hundreds have come to temple to swing Radha Krishna, and thousands have witnessed indirectly the swing festival thanks to the technology we have today. So here we find that in this pastime, Lord Narasimhadev has appeared and he killed Hiranyakashipu. And he was so angry. Why? Because he ill-treated his dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj. He could not contain his anger. But at the same time, Srila Prabhupada in previous verses says that in his purport that Hiranyakashipu Lord Narasimhadev after killing Hiranyakashipu sat on his throne, and sitting on his throne, Acharya Prabhupada comments that it is the affection of the Lord towards his devotee. Because Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they are his Jay and Vijay, and they appeared in this material world as demons to participate in the Leela of the Lord. So therefore we find here, now Hiranyakashipu has been killed and his anger still continues. Lord Narasimhadev is still very angry. It is said that the Lord was so angry that no one really could not pacify him, including Mother Lakshmi Devi's eternal consort. So here we find that in yesterday's verse, Lord Brahma offered prayers, and today we find Lord Shiva is offering the prayers. And Lord Shiva is the principle of the destruction in this material world. So therefore, the manifesting of the Lord to destroy this material world when the time comes. And at the time when it is said that Shiva Tandava, he does the Nrutyam to destroy this material world or to destroy this universe. And that's the time when the anger is required to be displayed. So whenever you want to destroy something, that passion, that anger, emotion should come. Only then you are able to destroy. So therefore Lord Shiva is saying that the end of the millennium is a time for your anger. Not at this stage when an insignificant demon like Hiranyakashipu has been killed. Please shower your affection to your devotee Prahlad Maharaj. So that's how he is trying to pacify Lord Narasimhadev. And Srila Prabhupada talks about the Supreme Person of Godhead is the creator of the material world. So how does the Supreme Lord create this material world? By his glance. So in his expansion as Purusha avatars, the first expansion, which is the Mahavishnu or Karnadakashaya Vishnu, he glances at Pradhan, and in that Pradhan, in that glance, he injects the living entities and the time factor. And the time functions as a big stirring rod. So till then, Pradhan was in a neutral phase where the elements were not active or the modes were not active. But once the time factor enters, it's like those of you who are cooking in the kitchen, you know that you need to stir the ingredients. So similar, time is a factor which stirs the pradhan and sets into activity, and therefore we find subsequent creation or transformations occur. From pradhan it becomes mahatattva, and in mahatattva the first element to form is the mode of, is it mode or is it what? What is form? Ahankar. The first element to appear is ahankar, and that ahankar interacts with the three modes which were till then in neutral phase. Now they become active. So therefore ahankar interacts with mode of goodness, interacts with mode of passion and mode of ignorance for subsequent elements to appear. So therefore Prabhupada is saying that and personality Godhead is the creator of the material world as Mahavishnu. So therefore universes are coming, and then Lord Vishnu expands himself as Garbhodakashaya Vishnu to enter each of the universe, and again expands as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu to enter each of the atom. And Kshirodakashaya Vishnu also enters into each one's heart, so therefore as Paramatma. So there are three processes in creation. So when we talk about creation, Prabhupada says that it's not just the creation, that creation implies creation, maintenance, and finally annihilation. And annihilation is the discussion that takes place in Canto 12, Chapter 4. There we find 4 types of annihilation is discussed. So it is called Naimittika, or occasional annihilation, then prakritika, or the total material annihilation, then atyantika, or the annihilation at the end, and nitya is the continuous annihilation. So the 4 types of annihilation we undergo. Nitya annihilation is that we are continuously being transformed. We are continuously dying. Actually, we don't realize that our bodies are, it's like the frames in a photograph. Therefore, continuously we are dying, and it's only the spiritual eye that can see the death which is happening continuously, or the annihilation taking place. But otherwise, others do not understand this. It's like in engineering, when any part is cut or shaped, it is done to a particular tolerance, and it's only the person who is doing it does know the difference between that -5 microns to ±5 microns. Within that range, that part has to be shaped, and if it is out of that range, then he understands that that part is not acceptable. For an ordinary eye, it appears to be the same, but for the trained eye, the person can see that there's a difference between a part which is outside the tolerance to the part which is within the tolerance. So similarly, our naked eye cannot see the difference which is happening in our body, but the fact that some cells are dying continuously and are being replaced with the new cells, so therefore when the cells die, then it's a new body, and the cells are created, then the new body is appearing. So that's how continuously we are dying, but we don't realize that. And this is called the Nitya annihilation. The second is called the Naimittika annihilation. The Naimittika annihilation takes place when Lord Brahma is sleeping. So we know that Lord Brahma, for 12 hours he remains awake, and then 12 hours he is sleeping. So during the time when he is sleeping, that's the time when there's a partial dissolution takes place or partial destruction takes place. At that time, all the planetary systems are submerged in water except the Brahmaloka, so therefore the partial destruction has taken place. So that destruction is called the Naimittika destruction. Then we have the Prakritika annihilation, which takes place at the end of Lord Brahma's life, which is the 100 years. Then there is also called Atyantika dissolution, and during this dissolution it is said that those who have achieved or those who have attained the Brahman knowledge or the spiritual knowledge, they think that they want to merge with the Lord or the Brahma Jyoti, so therefore they get this Sayujya Mukti. So these are the 4 types of annihilation: the Nitya, the Naimittika, the Prakritika, and Atyantika. So during the period of annihilation at the end of each millennium, the Lord becomes angry, and the part of anger is displayed by Lord Shiva, who is therefore called Rudra. So now when we talk of Lord Shiva, it is a topic which is a bit of confusion for people coming from especially South India, because we say Shiva and he is the worshipable Lord, and it's in that family I've taken my birth. So for us, our Ishta Devata is Lord Shiva. And we're all trained to understand that Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu are on the same platform. But when we read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and Brahma Samhita, we get a different perspective. And in that perspective, it is said that Lord Shiva exists eternally as Sadashiva in his Dham. And so Brahma Samhita talks of the particular verse where you have the Devi Dham, then Mahesh Dham, and then the Hari Dham. So there are 3 Dhams, and the Mahesh Dham is where Sadashiva exists, and that is the Dham which is neither material nor spiritual, because I think Rupa Goswami says that 1/4 of his Dham exists in the spiritual world, and 3/4 of the Dham exists in the material world. When the entire universe is destroyed, still his Dham is there, and Sadashiva is eternal. And who is Sadashiva? Once again, Brahma Samhita talks about that particular verse. Anyone remember that verse? Kshiram tata yadivika sanjayate nahi. Is it sanjayate? Anyway, that milk comes in contact with acidic nature or with acidic nature, then it turns into yogurt. So that's the verse where, so that Shambhu, or he is considered to be Sadashiva. He is spiritual, yet he is not like Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Now, the expansion of Sadashiva in the material world appears or happens when Lord Brahma becomes angry at whom? The four Kumaras. He becomes angry. Why? Because Brahma wanted to progenate the universe, and the four Kumaras, who were the little boys, 5 years, and he wanted them to get married. It is, maybe in today's context, it looks like unusual asking a 5-year kid. So, Mata, your kid is 8 years. So if your mummy says you get married. So Lord Brahma says to his 4 Kumaras who are just 5 years to get married. And they say that, well, no, it's not possible, they're not interested. But in previous generations, even 40, 50 years back, we did find people were getting married in India. I know that my own father got married at the age of 10, not at 5 years, 10 when my mother was 8 years. And that was a generation when they used to get married at such an early age. And there were some reasons at that time. Maybe they're not applicable in today's context. But then, coming back to the past time, we find that Lord Brahma becomes very angry. And in that anger, from his body or from the forehead appears Rudra. And that Rudra expands into 11 Rudras, and they were destroying the universe. So therefore, Lord Brahma says, "This is the time for creation, it's not the time for annihilation," and therefore he requests the Rudras to perform austerity and meditation, tapasya. So that's the Rudra form. So we have Sadashiva, then we have the Rudra, and we also have here, as Prabhupada says, that creation, maintenance and the annihilation, that is the other principle of Shiva who destroys the universe. So we have the Sadashiva, we have the Rudra, and then Shiva who does the annihilation of the universe. Am I right, Prabhu? So we find that the 3 levels at which Lord Shiva appears in the creation or in the annihilation. And Shiva, he knows that that's the time when he has to display that anger. So therefore he is saying, this is not the time for you to display that anger. Because Prabhupada uses that word taking Kopa Kala. Kopa is anger in Sanskrit. We say in Telugu, anyone Telugu speaking here? We say Kopam is anger. Kala is the time. So there's a time when you are required to display your anger. And that time is the time of destroying the universe or the millennium, but not at this time when you have killed whom? An insignificant demon like Hiranyakashipu. So when the Lord appeared in great anger to kill Hiranyakashipu, everyone was extremely afraid of the Lord's attitude. Everyone was scared. No one could go near him, including Lord Brahma, Lord Indra, and others. And we find ultimately it's only Prahlad Maharaj who pacifies Lord Shiva. Lord Narasimhadev. So but Lord Shiva, knowing very well that the Lord's anger is also his Leela, was not afraid. Lord Shiva knew that he would have to play the part of anger for the Lord. Kala means Lord Shiva or Bhairava, and Kopa refers to the Lord's anger. And I was trying to see what Bhai in Bhairava, Lord Shiva in bracket Prabhupada says Bhairava, in that Bhai is a fear. And what is the meaning of Rava? And when I was trying to search that Rava, it says that the shrieking voice with which the Lord roars. So that's the roar of Lord Narasimhadev, and it instills bhai, it instills fear. And there is a school of followers in India who worship Lord Bhairava. And they have a huge following. I think they are called the Isha Foundation, whose chief these days you find him as Sadguru. So therefore they worship Lord Bhairava. Kala means Lord Shiva, Bhairava, and Kopa refers to Lord anger. So these words combined together as Kopakala refer to the end of each millennium. So there's a time when the universe is required to be destroyed. So therefore that anger, when it's expressed, so that anger is called Kopakala. And this is not the time, because this is not the time when you are destroying any universe. You have already killed the insignificant demon. But Prabhupada continues, actually the Lord is always affectionate toward his devotees, even though he may appear very angry. Why? Because he is Avyayatma. He never falls down. So where do we find this word Avyayatma? Sorry? No, not in. Yeah, it is in Bhagavad Gita 4.7 or 4.7. Yeah, there Sambhavami Atmamayaya, that the Lord appears. Maybe I can check which verse is it. Yeah, 4.6. Ajopisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropisan prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamayaya. So that avyayatma, Prabhupada translates as avyaya, without deterioration, atma, body. So therefore, Lord, Prabhupada says here that he is avyayatma, so therefore he is affectionate to everyone. He does not fall down. Even when angry, the Lord is affectionate towards the devotees. Because Lord is transcendental, his dealings are always transcendental. Whether he's dealing with the spiritual world, it is spiritually he acts. Or when he deals with the material world, then also is his spiritual activity only. So either way, his dealings are spiritual, either with material world or the spiritual world. So therefore we find that Avyayatma, he never falls down, and the angry the Lord is affectionate towards his devotees. How do we understand that the Bhaktavatsala nature of the Lord? Maybe we'll take one or two pastimes to understand the Bhaktavatsala. So here we find there is the mixed emotion being expressed by Lord Narasimhadev. On one side, he is extremely angry at Hiranyakashipu, but at the same time, he is affectionate towards his devotee Prahlad Maharaj. This is typically like that of a father. Father sometimes becomes angry at his child, but at the same time, the reason the father becomes angry is not that he is having any enmity towards his son or the child, but because of his affection for the child. Although sometimes in the material world the father becomes angry and that becomes one-sided, the mixed emotions are not visible, but by and large the mixed emotions are visible. Both anger and affection are appearing, but the child may not understand that mixed emotion. And to that there is a beautiful story said in Vedic culture. And in that story, it goes like this, that there was a Brahmana, very pious Brahmana, and he had a son. if I'm not mistaken, the son's name was Nachiketa. And father would always criticize his son, Nachiketa. Whatever he does, the father criticizes. And the son becomes despondent. He says, whatever I do, that my father is becoming angry. And one day, he decides to kill his father. He said, I cannot anymore tolerate my father's criticism. And therefore he decides to kill his father. And typically in a village or in India, the houses you have, we call as sejja. That is a projection at a particular height, and on that projection you keep various items as a storage. So on that day, in that bedroom, the son Nachiketa climbs up before the parents enter into the room and sits on the top, waiting for an opportune time to kill his father. So then the parents enter, the mother, in the course of discussion with her husband or Nachiketa's father says, why do you always criticize our son? Can't you be affectionate? Then the father says that, don't you think that I'm affectionate to my son or our son? I'm affectionate. I praise him, but I can't praise him in front of him. I have to correct him, and therefore as a part of my duty, I try to correct him, and hence I have to criticize him. But otherwise, I'm very affectionate, and as much as you are affectionate to our son, equally I'm affectionate. And that makes the son, Nachiketa, tears come out of his eyes. And what does he do? He jumps from that sejja or the projection and then falls at his father's feet. And he says that I've done such a grave mistake of thinking to kill you, and this is, I did not understand why you have been criticizing me. So please forgive me, but at the same time, I should do some prayaschita. So as prayaschita, you tell me the punishment. Father says, no, it's okay that you have understood my reason for criticizing you. That itself is good enough. His son says, no, please tell me, give me the punishment. And you know what is the punishment? Maybe Matajis may not be happy to hear this. The father says, stay in your in-laws' place for 6 months. That is the punishment. Stay in your in-laws' place for 6 months. And the son says, staying in in-laws' place, after all I'm a son-in-law, why would that be considered as a punishment? But since father said that, the son, Nachiketa, he says, okay, he goes with his wife to his in-laws' place. First 3 days, the son-in-law and the daughter are treated so nicely, and Nachiketa was thinking, what sort of a punishment my father has given? But the punishment starts from the 4th day. The father-in-law is asking, when are you leaving? The mother-in-law is asking, when are you leaving? The sister-in-law is asking, when are you leaving? Don't you have work? Don't you have to go back home? But Nachiketa can't go because he has to follow the father's instruction, and he continues to stay there. And father-in-law, mother-in-law, everyone becomes angry. They say that, okay, remove the farmer from the farming, send this person to farming. But yet Nachiketa continues to do the farming, but he does not move out of the house. Then mother says, okay, remove the maidservant. So therefore the entire work from cooking, washing, cleaning, everything was done by the daughter. And then tilling, bringing whatever is the paddy, taking care of the cow, cleaning, the entire part was given to the son-in-law. And then son-in-law realizes what is the punishment the father has given to him by asking him to stay his in-laws' place. So therefore, my in-laws used to ask me, why don't you stay more? So I used to repeat them this story, that a son-in-law cannot stay in an in-laws' place for more than 3 days. because from the fourth day onwards, you will subject me to this particular treatment. So therefore, my coming here, I come in the morning, and next 2 days I'm off from Madras, Chennai. So that is the affection of a father, Bhaktavatsala. So here Bhaktavatsala, equally we find Lord Narasimhadev is affectionate towards his devotees. So therefore he also displays that mixed emotion. Does anyone remember any pastime from Mahabhagavatam about the mixed emotion displayed by Lord Krishna? Any pastime we can think of? Parikshit Maharaj, anger. Yeah, we can take that pastime in the sense that Lord Krishna appears in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam for the first time in the first canto, where he is driving the chariot of Arjuna. And what the reason for driving the chariot of Arjuna is the role of a Bhaktavatsala there, because Ashwadhama had killed the Upapandavas. Or thinking that they were the Pandavas, he killed the Upapandavas, the children, and therefore Arjuna became very angry. He said, I'll behead Ashwadhama until I bring his head. He requested Draupadi not to comb her hair. And therefore, that's the time when Krishna appears driving the chariot. The first pages of Bhagavatam, first time he is appearing as Bhaktavatsala. So that's the time when we find that not only Krishna helps Arjuna to capture Ashwadhama. In that context, we find that Ashwadhama releases the Brahmastra and Krishna protects Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other episode we can think of in terms of Bhaktavatsala? Any pastime? Sorry? Yeah, one can think of Bhishma Dev's pastime. That's a beautiful pastime of Bhishma Dev, where we find that Duryodhana was not happy that Bhishma Dev was not killing Pandavas. He said that you are siding Pandavas, although you are my commander-in-chief. And he enrages Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev, what does he do? He said that, okay, I've got these 5 weapons, and I'm going to use these 5 weapons tomorrow to kill each of the Pandavas. Then Duryodhana was not really sure whether Bhishma Dev is going to get those weapons to the war front. So therefore he said, okay, give me those 5 arrows to me. I'll give it to you at the right time tomorrow in the battlefield. You can use against the Pandavas. And so Duryodhana takes those 5 arrows and goes happily to his tent. But Krishna is Krishna. So therefore he understands, well, Pandavas in great danger. So what does he do? He tells Arjuna to invoke the blessings given by Duryodhana. He says that go and ask, now this is the time, you go and ask those 5 weapons. And look at the spirit of Kshatriyas in those days, not like these days where remotely you press a button and then try to destroy the opponent. When Arjuna visits Duryodhana's tent, he was a bit surprised, but at the same time he welcomes his cousin, embraces him and says, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? What makes you come here at this odd time in the night? And Arjuna says, please give me those 5 arrows. Duryodhana knew that these 5 arrows are meant for killing Pandavas, and yet he says, okay, I have to keep up my promise and he hands over those 5 arrows to Arjuna. And Arjuna comes back, and Bhishma Dev understands, well, this is what Krishna has played the trick. But he still promises Duryodhana that tomorrow I will kill Arjuna. I'll see that Krishna raises the weapon because he has to bring to protect Arjuna. Otherwise, Arjuna will be killed tomorrow. So the next day, Bhishma Dev fights like a lion, and then Arjuna was not able to control, or Arjuna was not able to face Bhishma Dev. And Krishna sees the slackness in Arjuna's response, so therefore he steps down from the chariot and picks up a broken wheel and races towards Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma Dev wanted to see that chivalry nature of Lord Krishna, and he welcomes Krishna. He says, well, please use that chakra to kill me. He was so happy. So there we find Krishna was willing to break his own promise in order to be the Bhaktavatsala, to protect Arjuna. And Arjuna from behind comes running and holds on to the lotus feet of Krishna and says, please don't break your promise. I'll kill Bhishma Dev. And after pacifying Krishna, then Krishna comes back, and then Arjuna, of course, they continue the war. But there we find that the mixed emotion is being expressed, shown simultaneously by Krishna. On one side, he was trying to kill Bhishma Dev. At the other side, equally give protection to Arjuna. So thank you, Prabhu. That's a wonderful pastime we find in Mahabharata, where the mixed emotions are displayed. And we find that like that many emotions can be seen. Many such pastimes can be seen. Another pastime is that of Govardhan Leela. There also we find the gopis or the gopas and the parents, they can see Krishna only some time of the day, not always. But in Govardhan Leela, Krishna enrages Indra to cut down his pride, at the same time facilitate the Govardhan Leela for 7 days, so that all of them, the gopas, the gopis, the parents, everyone could see continuously Lord Krishna for 7 days. So there also we find that mixed emotion being visible. And coming back home to our temple, I'm sure you would have seen me while taking the pictures. The first 3 days, Bhaktiman Prabhu was showing his extreme anger at me. He was pushing me. He said, don't come with your camera. I can't allow you to take the picture. So therefore, I want to take just 20 seconds, 25 seconds picture because I was telling him, look, only a few hundreds are here in the temple who have come to swing or participate in the swing festival, but there are thousands outside who have not come to the temple and they wish to see these clippings. Just 20 seconds clipping, please allow me. He said, no, I'm not going to allow you. I'm not going to allow you. Literally, he pushed me. And I approached 2 wonderful devotees of our congregation, said, Prabhu, please tell Bhaktiman Prabhu to see that he allows me those 20 seconds photo. And both of them said, no, we can't help you. You talk to him directly. So Bhaktiman Prabhu apparently was showing that anger because he wanted to see that the devotees who have come here are taken care, not somebody who has not come to the temple. But in that anger, he displayed the affection as well, because somehow he pushed me, but at the same time he allowed me to take the picture for those 15 seconds, 20 seconds. And day before yesterday, I was trying to enter the temple. I was a bit late. I was trying to enter the temple in the morning. to offer flowers. I could not see the flowers here, so I went out into the peripheral room, and then there was a box of flowers, and Bhaktiman Prabhu was standing there. Then I said, Prabhu, can I take one flower to offer to Prabhupada? He said, who can stop you from taking the flower? You can take it. So therefore, externally he was displaying that anger, but internally he was showing the affection. Well, you are doing the service to Krishna, and therefore I'm allowing you to do this activity. And yesterday, at least this is how I felt Krishna's arrangement. They started swinging, and the light switched off. Light did not switch on. So that gave me one complete 40 to 50 seconds to take up close-up pictures. So I thought this is Krishna's arrangement. Bhaktiman Prabhu wanted to start the swinging festival immediately, but he tried to swing, but there are no lights, so therefore he stopped the swing, and in that few seconds I got the time to take the darshan pictures and then transmitted, and then the festival started. So therefore I find that if we are interested, if our motto is to serve the Lord, somehow Lord facilitates. So just as the Lord is compassionate, affectionate, Bhaktavatsala, similarly devotees are also Bhaktavatsala. They try to facilitate us to take appropriate action for the benefit of the congregation, for the benefit of the individual, for the benefit of others. And so these days we find we are directly reaching out to anywhere between 2,500 to 3,000 devotees every day morning. They receive darshan pictures. So that's not a small number from where we started 4 years ago. Our campaign, we did not have any devotee to whom we were sending. And the last 4 years, thanks to many devotees who are bringing in their contacts, their known persons to participate in Divya Darshana Yajna, like Nandagopal Prabhu, then Parma Karuna Mataji, then Vallabha Chaitanya Prabhu, and then few others who regularly, whenever I see them, where are my customers? And therefore Prabhu said that, okay, today we are going to give you one customer. And that's how they send us the links, and we keep adding them. And the tree is growing, or the congregation is growing. So we find that the mixed emotions are displayed by the Lord, and equally by the devotees to serve the Lord. And hence we have that famous sloka in Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna functions simultaneously. Which is that verse? He displays, he says that at the same time I kill the demons and also protect my devotees. Which is that verse? Sivya is not here today, okay. Ya paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya saduskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna does, when he does an activity, we find simultaneously there are many things happening at the same time. There is also another pastime where Krishna displays that sort of an emotion, and we find the same in Srila Prabhupada, Founder-Acharya of Hare Krishna. If we observe carefully the way Prabhupada has instituted ISKCON and his criticism of scientists. On one side, to protect the devotees, Srila Prabhupada has created a process for us to undertake so that we grow spiritually. So that is his affection for the devotees and the disciples and the grand disciples. At the same time, he would heavily criticize the scientists. So on one side, he shows his Bhaktivedanta nature towards his disciples and grand disciples by giving the process, by giving the philosophy in a very simple way so that we understand. But at the same time, to protect us, he criticizes the scientists that they are so and so. Why? To tell us that do not follow what the scientists are saying. It is not Vedic. It is not true. What they are saying is true as far as the material aspect is concerned, but the spiritual part is beyond their realm. So therefore, do not follow them. So that is his affection for his Bhaktivedanta nature. He is displaying, criticizing on one side. It's not that he's against every scientist, because he has shown how the whatever is the material available in terms of computer, recording, players, microphone, car, aircraft, all the technology he has used, but all that he has used for preaching Krishna consciousness. So that does not mean that universally is criticizing scientists, but that nature of scientists, or that consciousness of scientists is criticizing where they do not accept what the Vedic scriptures are saying. But equally we find Chandrayaan, these three, now it landed on moon. I don't know how many of you have read closely what was happening. Before the Chandrayaan launching or was shot into space, all the scientists, because the Sriharikota is in Andhra Pradesh, very close to Lord Balaji temple, all of them offered their prayers and for the success of the mission. And then Chandrayaan was launched. So therefore here is a scientist or set of scientists who understand that they can do what they can do, but beyond that it's the mercy of the Lord that allows the success of the space aircraft. And therefore we find such scientists are not criticized, they are accepted as the followers of Vedic culture. So we should be careful to understand what Srila Prabhupada is telling us and how he is expressing his Bhaktivedanta nature in trying to protect us, to give us a process, at the same time to protect us. Yeah, with these few words I thought we'll stop at this stage, because there are many pastimes we can pick up Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, how Krishna shows his Bhaktivedanta nature. Any question or any comment? Okay then. Grandaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpatarobhascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Yeah.